All right, today we are jumping into one of the most intense, high stakes negotiations you'll ever come across. And we're not talking about land or money here. No, this is a story where a leader has to confront God himself to save the very soul and the entire future of his people. So the story just kicks off with this absolutely stunning ultimatum. Right after the whole disaster with the golden calf, God tells the Israelites, okay, you can have the promised land, but I'm not going with you. And why? Because, get this, their rebellious nature is so volatile that his holy presence would literally incinerate them along the way. The tension is just, wow, it's there from the very first word. So yeah, this ultimatum, it forces the Israelites into this terrible, almost impossible choice. I mean, just think about the deal that's on the table. On one hand, you've still got the grand prize, the land flowing with milk and honey. You even get an angel as a guide. But what's being taken away? Oh, just everything that actually matters, God's direct personal presence. And that's why the text calls this evil tidings. The people get it immediately. They knew that the promised land without the one who promised it, well, that wasn't a victory at all. It was a curse. And God uses this one incredibly vivid word to diagnose the problem: stiff-necked. It is such a gut punch of a metaphor. Just picture an ox that refuses the yoke, right? It's fighting against the farmer's guidance every single step of the way. That is the image here: stubborn, obstinate, fundamentally rebellious. And this single character flaw is the ticking time bomb at the very heart of this entire crisis. But you really have to ask yourself, why wasn't an angel enough? I mean, a celestial tour guide sounds pretty good, doesn't it? For the Israelites, though, an angel was just a proxy, a divine contractor. Their whole identity, their unique covenant with God, was built on a direct relationship. A messenger, no matter how powerful, was basically a demotion that just cut them to the core. And so the people's reaction to this news, it isn't just sadness. We're talking about a profound, soul-deep state of mourning. You can actually see their grief unfold in three really powerful actions. First, they hear the evil tidings. Then they enter this state of mourning. And then they do something that's just deeply significant. They strip off all their ornaments. Now, in the ancient world, this wasn't just taking off some jewelry. Ornaments were symbols of status, of divine favor, of celebration. To take them off was a public act of shame and repentance. It was an outward sign that their inner world had completely crumbled. But Moses takes it even further. In this bold, just shattering symbolic move, he takes the tabernacle, the very tent where God's presence was supposed to dwell, and he pitches it far outside the camp. He creates a painful physical map of the spiritual chasm that has just opened up between a holy God and a rebellious people. And this one action, it creates this stark new reality. Now, if you want to seek God, you have to physically leave the community. The people are basically reduced to spectators, just watching from a distance as that pillar of cloud, that unmistakable sign of God's presence, comes down to speak with Moses. They can only worship from the doors of their own tents, separated and silent. The image is just heartbreaking. But this painful separation, it's not the final word. In fact, it's what sets the stage for the story's incredible turning point: Moses' unbelievably bold, face-to-face negotiation with God. And you have to wonder, how on earth can he do this? What gives any mortal the standing to argue with the Almighty? Well, the text gives us the key in this one just astonishing verse. Their relationship is one of incredible intimacy, face-to-face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. It's this unique friendship, this profound connection, that empowers Moses to step up and argue for his people. And Moses' core argument, it's a masterclass in negotiation. He cuts right to the heart of the matter. He asks, what separates us from every other nation on the face of the earth if you are not with us? He's basically saying that without God's presence, they aren't a chosen people. They're just another tribe wandering around in the desert. Their entire identity, their very reason for being, is on the line. And then, in a moment of just breathtaking audacity, Moses delivers his own ultimatum back to God. He says, if your presence doesn't go with us, then stop. We're not going. He is literally willing to forfeit the entire promised land rather than take one single step into it alone. This is it. This is the ultimate all-or-nothing gamble. And incredibly, it works. The gamble pays off. God relents. He reverses the decree. He not only agrees to go with them, he promises to give them rest. In that one moment, Through the sheer force of Moses' passionate argument, the entire crisis is over. But Moses isn't done. Having won this impossible victory for his people, he pushes his advantage. He makes one more request. This one is personal, and it is impossibly audacious, and it leads to the final mystical climax of this entire chapter. So what does he ask for? He asks to see God's glory. Just think about that for a second. After all this tension and all this fear, he needs a definitive, personal sign of reassurance. It's no longer enough to be told God is with them. Moses needs to experience that presence in the most direct, profound way imaginable. But there are limits. There are some lines that just cannot be crossed. And God's response is gentle, but it's firm. To see his face, to witness his glory in its raw, unfiltered fullness, is more than any human being can survive. What Moses is asking for isn't just profound, it's lethal. And so, a divine compromise is reached. Moses can't see the face, the full direct essence of God, but he will be allowed to witness God's goodness as it passes by. He'll get to see the back parts, which is this stunning metaphor for the afterglow, right? The radiant trail that's left in the wake of God's glory, but not the source itself. It's a glimpse of God's character in action, not a static portrait of his being. And this whole profound supernatural encounter is laid out with the precision of a sacred ritual. God will stand Moses on a rock. He'll place him inside a cleft, a little crack in the stone. He'll then shield him with his hand as that all-consuming glory passes by, and only then will he remove his hand, allowing Moses to witness the aftermath. It is a moment of pure revelation, perfectly and safely orchestrated. This final, incredible scene leaves us with a question that really echoes far beyond this ancient text. It suggests that maybe the divine isn't something we're meant to see head-on, like a static face in a portrait. Maybe, just like Moses, we experience it in glimpses, through its actions, its character, its goodness as it passes by us in the world. And that's a pretty powerful idea to hold on to.